Hi, I'm Arthur Slade, and I'm going to be reading aloud from my novel Jolted for World Read Aloud Day, and it's published by HarperCollins. Prologue. The reason why he always looks to the heavens. Newton Starker knew he would most likely die from a lightning strike. The bolt will deliver 300 kilovolts of electricity to the top of his skull, burning his scalp and popping thousands of brain cells like popcorn. Then it would arc along his nervous system, arteries and veins, frying his heart and lungs. The lightning would leave deep burns at the exit points as it blew off his shoes and scraps of his clothing. It would all happen in the blink of an eye. Zap! One fried 14-year-old Newton, the last male heir of the Starker line. Newton pressed his head back into his pillow and stared at the cracked paint on the dorm ceiling. His cot springs squeaked. Even here at Jerry Potts Academy of Higher Learning and Survival, far from his home in Snohomish, Washington, he couldn't escape thinking about lightning. He would rather have been dreaming about girls or tasty new recipes, but his mind always reset to this. A lightning bolt has my name on it. Lightning had blotted out nearly every member of the Starker family tree, including his grandfather, his Uncle Darwin, his mother. Sometimes it took more than one strike, but eventually they were smacked by a strong enough bolt. Newton didn't believe the Starkers were cursed. No, curses were illogical. He doubted it was a gene that attracted the lightning. The scientists at the University of Washington hadn't found a single suspect chromosome. It wasn't chance, it was statistically impossible for so many members of the same family to be hit by lightning. No one had any idea why it happened. The only other Starker survivor was his great-grandmother Enid, a woman who was as friendly as a pickled wolverine. He remembered each miserable visit his family had made to great-grandmother. He'd rather have seen the dentist. She was nothing like his mum. Delilah Starker had been warm and supportive and graceful. Newton swallowed the lump in his throat. It had been 2 years since the universe had dared to take her away. "I'm starting a new life, Mum." He sent this thought to the heavens. "Tomorrow it all begins. A school that will teach me how to survive. No one will laugh at a Starker again." He remembered the people who had teased him about his family's difficulties, people who had written blogs or newspaper articles or filled the airwaves with talk shows about the paranormal. Pallbearers carried his mother's coffin past a gaping crowd to the hearse. "Here comes the lightning," someone had shouted. "Duck." Remembering that, Newton felt a giant worm of anger begin to tie itself into knots in his stomach. He sat up in his cot, stepped onto the cold hardwood floor. Wearing only his pajamas and slippers, he snuck down the back stairs of the freshman boys' dorm, padded across the courtyard, and quietly opened the gate on the west wall of Jerry Potts Academy. Being late August, a touch of the day's heat still hung in the air. In moments, he was standing on the flat prairie. The stars twinkled mischievously above him. He glared at the sky and raised his fist. "Why? Why me? Why my family?" Then, with an emphatic finger poke, he growled, "I will win." The hairs on the back of his neck began to rise. Were those cumulonimbus clouds skulking under the half-moon? He thought he could just make out a telltale anvil shape blotting out the western sky, lumbering towards him. "You don't scare me," he whispered, but he was trembling. "It's cold. That's why I'm shaking." A rumble in the distance. It had to be a train, not thunder. Another low grumble made his heart beat double, then a flash. He gave one last shake of his fist, bounded back to the dorm, took the stairs 2 at a time, and slid under the old army blankets on his cot. The rain began to fall, pelting at his window. He closed his eyes. A full hour later, he finally fell asleep. Thank you.